Welcome to the Equine Express Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Marcus, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Dr. Lucas Pantaleon of DVM1 Health in Versailles, Kentucky. Dr. Pantaleon gave a talk about a topic that most equine veterinarian practices probably don't think much about, which is hospitality. Dr. Pantaleon, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me, Marcus.
So please tell us a little bit about what hospitality means to you from a veterinary practice perspective, and what are some things that veterinarians in particular can be doing differently to make the client experience a little bit smoother, maybe make everybody's experience a little bit smoother?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I always like to learn about other disciplines, and I got into learning about hospitality, I think, through my MBA. And that is important because I think always, like they say, people will forget what you say, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that is the key of hospitality and the key of what we can learn as veterinarians about the hospitality industry, because we are providing a service. So how we make our clients feel, I think it is very important. And that is the basis for having that emotional connection with our clients, establish a personalized service. And that is the basis and the key for having loyal returning clients.
Can you give us an example or two of some of the things that you found successful in this area?
One of the key things about hospitality, and we deal with healthcare, so it is a little bit more complex than just walking into a five-star hotel, right? Because we are dealing with complex medical cases a lot of times. It's all about how the team, the patient care team or the animal care team makes people feel, from the greeting, how they make them feel welcome from coming to the vet hospital, or if you have an ambulatory practice, how you can translate that to the farm or to the field, really fulfilling the wishes of that client, within limits. And don't forget about the fact that we are providing a service and providing a good value and a good quality of care for that patient is fundamental in providing hospitality and a good service. Walking into a practice or addressing an owner that has a problem with their horse with that mindset, I think is key for success, right?
What about some of the changes that you can make to the physical space of a practice? Points of first contact. You notice that if you go to a human physician lately, I think now that there's so many more practices owned by larger companies with a little bit more resources to spend on the front end experience, that you see fancier television sets, you see slightly nicer waiting rooms. Maybe everybody has the same uniform, which is a little bit sleek in terms of the front office staff. Do those things do anything in the equine veterinary space?
They do. And that is an up and coming area of emphasis in healthcare, and I think in pet healthcare as well. The physical space makes a huge difference. And I had the opportunity to work in this space with an architect that she designs equine hospitals, and having the good ventilation, good natural light, having a good flow of those patients going through the hospital, having a nice waiting room for that owner to have to wait for that horse that have to go through colic surgery. All those things add to the hospitality and how that we can make that owner feel through that experience, which a lot of times, having a sick horse in the hospital is not something that people really seek or going to have fun with. It is a challenging experience, so we have to keep that in mind, and how we can provide a physical space that will make them feel comfortable. It's key. And also make the horse feel comfortable, right? The horse has to have a nice spacious stall with nice bedding. That bedding needs to be clean. If we have turnout space, all those things need to be kept into consideration, I would say.
Do you have any guidance or rules of thumb for, say, what percentage of practice expense should be devoted to issues of hospitality, making these sorts of changes? Or is it hard to say?
Well, it's hard to say, but it depends how you put it. But if you read some of the hospitality literature, for example, they all talk about the team. So if we think about how the culture that we can develop within our practice to educate and feel our team and hire for people that are willing to provide good hospitality to our clients is key. So they talk about this 95 5% rule. So 95% means that they control the cost and they really manage the cost of 95% of the income of the practice, and then they spend 5% foolishly. For example, a customer comes through the door and there's some foolishness thing that they could give him as a gift to make him feel welcome and make him feel important for the practice. That would be a 5% that there's a budget that the employees have the freedom to spend to make that client feel special. So those kind of things are set up in the hospitality literature, more thinking about restaurants and hotels. But given the ability of our team members to have some type of budget to make that customer feel special.
Yeah, everybody appreciates a coffee mug or a mouse pad, right?
Yeah, but you could even go beyond that sometimes and kind of tailor make it special for that particular client or that particular situation, especially. You sometimes have to improvise. But also that 5% might involve, an retreat for the team to go somewhere, team building, have a speaker that could come and educate our team how we can be better in hospitality or client care and stuff like that.
So one more question for you before we go. Can these efforts backfire, and when do you know that you've gone a little too far? Or how do you
Well,
know we were about to go too far is probably the better question.
yeah, I don't think you can go too far. I think you have to understand where you are, right? What's your practice setting? You're not going to build a five-star hotel or a three-star Michelin restaurant in a neighborhood that would not support that. So you have to adapt and see what your customers will allow for you to do. But in any case, I think it is important to create a culture by which it doesn't matter what type of horse you're looking at. If you're looking at a $1 million racehorse or a little pony in the field, you have to treat that customer and that patient the same. So I think that will go a long way. So I don't think you can provide too much hospitality or too much value. Well, maybe you could go overboard trying to overbuild for your clientele. But I think creating that culture of caring for patients and the customer to provide a great value and a great quality of medicine, it's key and it should be across the board.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Again, my guest was Dr. Lucas Pantaleon of DVM One Health in Versailles, Kentucky. Dr. Pantaleon, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks, Hal.